Welcome to the Angry Nerd Podcast. My name is Arshawn Wade, aka the Angry Nerd. The Angry Nerd Podcast is taped in front of a live Facebook audience from my mom's basement. The Angry Nerd Podcast is brought to you by some bad life choices and a few shattered dreams. The Angry Nerd Podcast is made possible by money that my wife gives me from my SSI check, some chick named Joni, and proceeds from listeners like you. If you want to be one of the listeners that helps contribute to this show getting better and better each week, go to Cash App, and my Cash App is $ The Angry Nerd. Now, speaking of Cash App, I want to give a shout out first and foremost to all of my listeners who bought channel merch this week. I want to say thank you to Jeremy B, Terrence G, Lester S, Heather C, John W, and Jerry M. These people all bought t-shirts this past week, and I want to say thank you. I appreciate you guys. It's because of people like you contributing to this show that's going to help me buy another microphone so I can start having live guests. Oh yeah, that's right. No more Facebook live. Join the Facebook Live. We're going to be in the studio. That's actually in my mom's basement. But I really appreciate you guys buying t-shirts. I really appreciate the couple of people who just showed some support and dropped a couple of bucks. Thank you guys. Thank you. I appreciate you. So last week we got pretty heavy. So I really didn't want to, really get off into a whole bunch of the crazy stuff that's going on in the world right now. I really wanted to kind of change gears and just bring some hot topics and, just kind of have some loose talk. Shout out to Corey Holcomb and the 5150 show. I got the term loose talk from a segment in his show, D's Loose Talk About BS. So I didn't want to be stealing that title without giving credit. So anyways, Hurricane Laura has reached a category 4. Now, if you're like me and you don't really know a whole bunch about what it means, what a category 4 hurricane means, it means bad stuff is on the way, people. So if you live in southern to mid Arkansas, I think it's like gonna split right down the middle of the state based on some of the systems that I've saw when I looked online and checked it out, because I never watched the weather. I never watched the news. So I'm like always on the late show when it comes to stuff like that. But apparently this is a very, very bad hurricane. And they define it as high potential for loss of life and incredible damage to property. So I think that's something that anybody who lives in Louisiana, Texas, and Arkansas, we need to really take precautions. We need to take precautions because this is serious. Excuse me. I know personally we've called off work tomorrow just to be on the safe side, because we don't know what this system is going to bring. We don't know what the byproduct of it is. And of course, the Texas and Louisiana are going to get the brunt of that. And we always get like the aftershock or the what's left of it here in central Arkansas. So I can only imagine if it's going to bring 60-mile-an-hour winds this way, what type of tragedy is going to be in Louisiana. So I hope everyone prays for those folks out there in Louisiana and Texas, and whatever aid we can offer. If there's, of a website or a foundation that helps with stuff like that, please drop it in the comments so that we can contact those folks if we need that type of help here in Central Arkansas. Okay, so apparently there are allegations that Tekashi 6ix9ine was robbed, according to the website Blast. According to sources, he lost $250,000 in cash and jewelry at the hands of some gangbanger in LA over this past weekend. Now, when Tekashi 6ix9ine was asked about this by TMZ, he denied it. His camp denies it. His security team says that it didn't happen. They said that it's not real. But there was a young man who took credit for the robbery on Twitter and posted a tweet with an undisclosed amount of money and jewelry saying, "Got him." And at the behest of some of his followers, he took the post down because they said, "Hey man, you're drop snitching on yourself. Might not be the smartest thing to do is to make a post saying that you committed a crime." And moments later, he took the post down. So the jury's still out on whether or not Tekashi 6ix9ine got robbed in LA this past week. personally, being that this young man has been the kind of person who chases clout and he's always like looking for shock value, I think it was some stuff that he set up personally. That's what I think. I think that this is Tekashi 6ix9ine trying to once again deflect the stench of snitching by performing some other antics. It's like last month he was talking trash about Snoop Dogg and taking shots at Snoop and alluding to Snoop being a snitch. And then this month there's a phantom robbery that happened or didn't in LA. So I don't know. You know, I still wish the kid the best. I think he's living a very miserable existence as someone who wanted to be a gangster, someone who wanted to be known as a thug and stuff like that. I think he's really living a very miserable existence. And if in fact it's true that he did get robbed, I think that the people who probably robbed him thought, you know, this is such a high profile guy. You know, if we did something to him violently, people are going to jail very quickly behind it. So I think instead of doing violence on the guy, they decided we're going to tax him. So if you want to come visit the hood, then, you know, you have to pay a toll. Anyways, I'm not in that lifestyle. I don't operate that way anymore. So I'm not in touch with what the streets does and how it goes down all the way. But I do have a pretty good memory about how things happen with certain people. You know, certain people did bogus things by the street code. And because they had money, they were able to kind of like pay a tax. So shout out to those guys. I hope nobody gets hurt. I hope nobody goes to jail. I hope nothing bad comes of it. Anyway, speaking of gangster stuff, there was a mass shooting in Pine Bluff, Arkansas. Now, once upon a time, Pine Bluff was like the murder capital of the world, or maybe the murder capital of the country. No, I think I'm correct. I think it was the murder capital of the world at one point in time. And geographically, it's a very small city. It's a very small city in southern central Arkansas. And last weekend, I think it was Sunday. It was Sunday. 7 people were shot. Now, get this. There is, to me, the most magnificent thing, and just bear with me. I'm using a word like magnificent in reference to a shooting. The most magnificent thing about this is that it was captured on camera phone. And this guy, he was better than Geraldo Rivera's cameraman. Like, this dude is really missing his calling, because you can't count how many shots rang out. And this dude, the camera didn't falter. He didn't shake or anything. And you can hear him in the back like, hey, none of them builders better not make it over here. And I was like, oh, this is a real gangster cameraman right here, you know. But at present, nobody was killed, thank God. These two, you could only see 2 guys on the video, but by the gunshots, you could tell that there were more than just those 2 guys shooting. And in typical traditional coward fashion, these guys did not hit each other. They hit 7 bystanders. So I think that's terrible. I think it's a tragedy. I think it's, you know, it's horrible. And I don't know what we can do to prevent things like this. And this isn't to jump on the black on black crime wave. No, that's not what it's about for me. This is just a couple of foolish kids who appeared to be extremely afraid to have a fist fight, because it appeared that there was going to be a fist fight, and then people began to brandish weapons, just based on what I could see in the little 40-second video. But we got to take control of these neighborhoods, man. We gotta start, you know, taking back our communities, because we can't allow stuff like this to happen. Because one thing I know about energy is one of those things that it expands. So if we don't do something as a community to get these people rooted out from around us, then we're gonna hear about more situations like what happened in Pine Bluff. That's what's gonna happen. And what's worse for me is that local law enforcement, they're investigating, but they have no leads, 0 leads. And I saw at least about 20 people in the video where the shooting occurred. No one's saying anything. And that bothers me. That bothers me because I have kids, I have a wife, and you don't want to get people out from around us who commit heinous acts like that. I don't understand that. Don't get me wrong. I know that there's the police are under fire right now because they've been doing some bogus stuff all over the country. But when you have guys who will open fire at a gas station and shoot 7 people, I think about myself. I go at a gas station every day and I get my coffee, my sunflower seeds, and I couldn't imagine going to get my coffee and my sunflower seeds and I could possibly be shot just for stopping at the wrong gas station. Now, like I said, I know that the police hasn't always been a friend of the low-income community. I get that. I totally get that. But we have to want to get these people out from around us, just like we want to get those bad cops off of the force. We want to get the dirtbag cops off of the force, but we also want to get the rootinest, tootinest, gun-totinest ass little dudes out of our neighborhoods too. You see what I'm saying? There are thugs with badges, and then there are guys like these two brothers who decided to shoot up the entire gas station. So, and I know I may lose some cool points for this, but man, I certainly hope they find those young men, and I hope they get them off the streets. And when it's your grandma or it's your brother or it's your sister who's at the gas station who randomly gets shot just for being in the wrong place at the wrong time, you're going to feel that way too. So we need to, I'm not calling for people to go run down there and volunteer information. That's not what I'm doing. But what I'm saying, when you witness something horrible like this, you should want to say something. You should want to say something. So, like I said, that's where I'm at with it. Shout out to the people who actually spoke out. I saw some people on the news actually speaking out about it. So shout out to them. I don't know if they were community activists or what, but I saw them on the news speaking out against it. And shout out to them because we need more of that. I want all the dirt bags out of my community. I want all of the dirt bags out of my community. But moving right along. Presidential race. It's like, I don't know where to go with this. It's like, to me, mind you, I'm mildly mentally challenged. But to me, it's like all the other pretty girls have been asked to prom already, and we only have the choice between one unattractive girl and another unattractive girl in Biden and Trump. Trump supporters, please don't come get me. Please don't do it. Don't hurt me. But that's the way I feel. Probably because that's what actually happened to me. I was so nervous to ask a girl to prom that I was left with slim pickings. So, but that's how I feel. I feel like America waited too long and all of the good dates are gone. And we are left with the two unattractive girls to ask out to prom. Because I don't like Kamala Harris and Joe Biden. I don't like either one of them. And I also don't like Trump. I don't. And I think that's where most people are at. I think most people are at that place. I think most people are like, I don't like either one of them. But we waited to the last minute to ask a girl to prom. And now America is left with the two unattractive girls in class. That's what we got. And it's like, can we transfer? Can we transfer to another school whose prom isn't come yet and we can ask a new girl out? Because it's not them personally. Mind you, let me say, I don't think I have anything against Donald Trump as a person or Kamala Harris or Joe Biden as people. I don't like their politics. I just don't like what they stand for. I know some people who just don't like them as people, and I think that's crazy because you don't really know who they are. You know this public image that they put on. You know this persona that they put out there in front of the masses. So you really don't know who they are. So I judge these candidates by their politics. I got Trump over here who basically got none. And then I got Biden and Harris who are horrible. And they have a horrible track record. I don't see why people think they're going to do any better by the low-income communities because they're not. What's his name? Biden's been in politics like 50 years. Has he helped poor people? Has he helped the working man? And I always come from that perspective because that's the social class that I believe I belong to is, someone from the low-income communities, the working class. I belong to those people. And I have yet to see any of these people talk about what they're going to do for our people in the low-income communities. I have yet to see any of those people show me what they're going to do for the working class. That's the problem that I have with these people in their politics. They're just not good. They're not suitable for me and a whole bunch of Americans. We can get caught up on Trump being a racist or Joe is a racist. Look, nix that. Skip all that. I don't care. Trump could say some sketchy racist stuff and then in that he could put some policies out there that help people in my tax bracket, that help people from my demographic. And I'd be okay with that because I think most 70-something-year-old white guys probably have some particular views about black people. And Joe Biden included. So I don't really care about that because I think at their level, racism to me is just something that poor people argue about. It's like you don't see videos on Facebook of rich people calling each other the N-word or, rich black people talking about the problems that we have in the low income communities. You just don't. Elitism is what we are really dealing with because the Richie Poos don't care about us down here. They want to keep us arguing. They want to keep us fighting. They don't ever want us to band together and come together and codify around a common cause, which is significantly improving our living situation. We saw with the pandemic, at the impetus of the pandemic, first 2 or 3 weeks, most Americans were in abject poverty. Most Americans missed one car payment, missed one mortgage payment, and they were in abject poverty. The majority of this country, after the first 3 or 4 weeks without work, done. And that is a problem. That's a tragedy. That you have people who go and work 40, 50, 60 hours. I don't know anybody who works a 40-hour work week. I don't know anybody who can live off of 40 hours. So most people are just to get by are working 50 and 60 hours a week. Or they're working 40 hours a week at one job and 20 hours a week at a part-time job just to make ends meet. Which candidate is going to right that? Which candidate is going to make sure that the working man keeps more of his money in his pocket? Well, I think we have to have a candidate who's been a working man before we can get to that place. And I don't see that candidate. That's a problem that I have with the American people. We want our God to be perfect. We want our politicians to be perfect. We want them to get up there and speak eloquent. We want them to have an air of sophistication about them. Why don't we want people up there who speak like we do? Why don't we want to put people in office who look like us? Why don't we want to put somebody up there who wears flannel? or a coverall or work boots? Why do we want to keep putting guys in office who wear gray suits and red ties and smile like this? Why do we want to continue to do that? I don't understand it. They can never identify with us. Never. You want to know why the working man has it so hard? Because the non-working class calls the shots. We allow people who have never done an honest day's labor to call the shots for us in this country. That's the problem. This country needs a psychic shift. Collectively, we need to move in another direction. Right now, I would like to give a shout out to my DJ Platinum Wax over at Young Black Wise Guys Records, who created the music that you guys on Facebook cannot hear, but all my listeners on Podbean, Spotify, and YouTube, those crisp, clean sounds that you hear in the background were created by my DJ Platinum Wax over at Young Black Wise Guys Records out of Southern Arkansas. Check him out. Hit him up on YouTube. Hit him up on Facebook. Hit him up on Twitter, Instagram. Shout out to my guy. Also, I would like to give a shout out to my guy, Aaron Vincent, for the graphics, Dylan Brackley over at Savage Hippie, Jim McDonough, David Pagan, all of my buddies over at Savage Hippie, all of my guys at Rock City MMA. I want to say shout out. I love you guys. God has blessed me to be around some quality people and make some really good relationships. I want to give a shout out to my guy, Dylan Brackley, for starting our group. It's just a men's group. We just started, he's just put us all in this group. We talked last week about men's mental health, and we're just men trying to help men become better men. And we don't have all the answers. We just some dudes who have opinions, thoughts, and experience, and we share them with each other. And if you'd like to be a part of that group, inbox me, DM me, email me. My email is my first name, Arshawn, 8, 5 @gmail.com. And you can send me an email and we'll send you a link and we'll vet you out. Make sure that you're a stand-up guy and you're not one of the feds who wants to shut us down because of our racy opinions, thoughts, and beliefs. And then we'll incorporate you into the group, into the fold, and hopefully you can enrich the group. But anyways, back to what I was saying. I hate the fact that Americans always want somebody perfect. They want someone who's America is like a battered woman. It's like a battered wife. You know what I mean? She knows that he is going to lay hands on her again. But America is so damaged that she wants to hear him say all the right things. She wants to hear him say how he won't do it again. It's going to be different this time. And lo and behold, go ahead, give him 4 years. Here comes another black eye. Here comes another busted lip. Here comes some more cracked ribs. And we, the people in America, get abused again by another smooth-talking abuser. Abuser of authority, abuser of resources, abuser of people. Maybe that's too much truth. Maybe that's too much realness. But that's where we are as a people. And you want to know what's worse? Is that we accept it because it's the way that it's always been. And we have gotten comfortable with these folks who we know. Most people are intelligent enough to know that these people don't care about us, that these people don't have our best interests at heart. And so I'm heartbroken that we don't have better candidates. We don't have better choices to the spring dance than President Trump and Biden. I wish there was somebody better. I wish we had somebody better that we could put up there. I wish that we had somebody who would actually represent us. The vast majority. These guys, they represent the 1%. These guys have the interests of the 1%. Why do you say that, Arshawn? How do you know that? With the exception of Trump, because he has his own money and he doesn't have to be beholden to people who want to push a certain agenda, which that's scary because we don't know what Trump's agenda is. These other people, where do you think they get the money from to run for office? Where do you think that they get the money from? People who want favors from them, who want new laws passed in their favor. We don't have that money. This is not coming from us. It's coming from other Richie Poos. So whose interest do they have in mind when they make these new laws, when they make these new policies? The Richie Poos. It's very simple. It's not very difficult to deduce. Simple stuff. We have to figure out a way to circumvent the norm in this country. We have to figure out a way to get those folks out of there and get some new people in there. We need some new blood in there and stop putting old people in there. You know, like Trump's 77. Does anybody have a 77-year-old grandma or grandpa? Like they forget stuff. You know, they're not really all there. You know what I mean? It's like you're kind of on the decline once you get on the other side of 70. I don't know. That's my thought, and that's been my experience. And that's not to diminish the value of a 70-something-year-old person. I just don't think that this is the person that I want driving the car. You know, that's my thoughts. I don't think this is the person that I want calling the shots for the free world. Well, I've preached enough about politics. I say this all the time. I hate talking about parenting, religion, and politics, but somehow or another, I always get to going on a tangent about parenting, politics, or religion. So let's talk about relationships. In the midst of the COVID-19 pandemic, there has been a strain put on relationships. There has been an abnormal strain put on relationships due to the coronavirus pandemic. Because now everything, all the normal problems and the normal stresses of a relationship have been magnified, because now one or both people are out of work. Now bills are coming in. We're not at work, so we're at home 24/7. And we really don't know how to deal with that. We really just don't know how to be. And I will tell you that you get used to not seeing your significant other for 8, 10, 12 hours a day. And then all of a sudden, bam, 24/7. Well, I'll tell you from personal experience, you start to notice things about them that you didn't previously know. And it's like, wow, I've been married to this person for 4 years. And I had no idea that she ate her cereal that way. Like, I think the way you eat cereal is disgusting. I don't like it. And I want you to change it. Maybe I'm telling too much of Arshawn's business right now. But no, totally. The coronavirus pandemic has put an exceptional strain on relationships. And now it's like everything means something, because at the beginning of this, I don't know anybody with corona. I don't know nobody got that rona. So it was like this abstract thing way out that happened to other people. And then someone at your job gets it. And then someone at your kid's school. And then someone at church. And now it's real. And I was like, I'm not wearing this stupid mask. Any place I go that has the mask sign up, I'm like, man, stupid mask. you know. But now I'm like, oh, hey, you ain't got your mask? Where y'all mask at? Because it's real. And all of this has put supernatural strain on relationships. I find myself saying, questioning things that I didn't question before. And then that's one thing, I start seeing it in my friends' relationships and coworkers' relationships. And I'm like, it's everywhere. It's everywhere. So I'm kind of thinking we might suffer from a little mild form of PTSD after this whole coronavirus pandemic is over, if it ever ends. Because the summers are getting ready to be over, and we're going to roll right into fall, and then we'll roll right into flu season. How will we differentiate which symptoms are flu and which symptoms are corona? I don't know. But when I see my wife not wash her hands, I'm like, who did I marry? You got to be more careful who you marry these days. She did not just wash her hands and she touched her hair. Like I'm all the way on point. Like I notice everything and I'm like, oh, you're really going to touch that spoon after you just scratched your face? It's like you almost can't. There's a conspiracy theorist part of me who's like, this is what the government wanted. This is why they created COVID-19. Because they wanted to destroy human interaction. Because it's like that story, that biblical story about the Tower of Babel. They built this tower trying to get up to God, and then God destroyed destroyed the tower and dispersed the people, and then muddled the tongues so that they couldn't communicate anymore, so that they could never do anything like that again, because God looked down and was like, oh, snap, they almost here. And now I feel like the government is like, where these people are all coming together. They're codifying around a cause. They're building and it's like, bam, corona, and now it's like 6 feet. I almost saw a fist fight in the Family Dollar. This lady was like, hey, back up, 6 feet. You're a little too close. Literally pulled out a ruler, not a ruler. What do you call it? A tape measure. Pulled it out. And stuck it, like poked the guy in the chest with it. It was insane. I was like, wow, I think that's extreme. But now, the value of human interaction, I think that stock has gone up. Because we are so devoid of that. Because everybody's kind of, on high alert. Everyone's on high alert. Like people that you used to shake hands with and hug. Now it's like an elbow dap when you walk by, like, yeah. All right, dog. It's like, and you don't even think about it. You don't even think it's rude anymore. You see somebody that you would normally shake their hand and you reach to shake their hand and they draw back. It's like, oh yeah, I forgot that Rona out here, So I guess I have to revise my previous statement that the coronavirus pandemic has put a strain on relationships. I think the coronavirus pandemic has put a strain on human interaction. Human interaction has been significantly diminished. It's like, I don't know how my white brothers do it, but I know black people, like one of our things is like, if we tell a joke or something like that and we're laughing, we're going to put our hand on your shoulder. We're going to nudge you with our elbow and so, oh boy, you crazy. Like touching a person in the black community is like, it's what we do. It's like, oh, right. We kind of touch a guy or touch a person. I hope no one gets offended by that. I just don't know. I don't see white guys really do that. White guys are laughing up like, oh, shucks. That was hilarious. But black dudes be like, ah. And, push your arm, grab your arm, or the all famous turn around and run a little bit, take 3 or 4 steps. Boy, you crazy. That's what we do. We're physical people like that. And I think that the coronavirus pandemic has significantly diminished human interactions. It's like Normally you're sitting in the gas station and you're waiting to pay for your gas or your point of purchase items, whatever it is. And, you have a conversation with the person while the teller's making change or something like that. And now it's like people are like standing so far away from each other, like you don't even have a, idle conversation with a stranger. It's like at this point, I haven't gotten into an elevator, but I can imagine people being in their elevators with like holding their, I don't want to breathe around you. You might have that Rona, and it's like, once again, the conspiracy theorist in me wants to believe that this is what the government wanted. But now I know people who have contracted the virus or who've been told that they contracted the virus. See, I got that conspiracy theorist in me, so I also always have to use the right language. People who have been told that they have the virus. Before it was something abstract. It was something way out, something far out, something that was, alien, because who knows anybody that has it? And then you start kind of hearing people say, oh, man, my cousin's sister's baby daddy said that, she knows somebody at work that got it. And then it was like, oh, yeah, whatever. And then it's like somebody at work's like, yeah, my cousin's got it. And you're like, whoa. And then your friend says, yo, man, just want to hit you up, man. My wife got that Rona. Oh. And you're like, wow. Like it's real. Or at least it appears real. It appears real now because it's in closer proximity to us. Like here in Arkansas, we were like, I don't think Arkansas has been shut down like at all. I think restaurants were closed for a week or two. But for the most part, Arkansas was like, boy, that ain't nothing right there. I know Rona don't want none of this old boy here. That's kind of how Arkansans, they just kind of thugged it out. We just kind of thugged it out, and we've gotten to this place to where we're at now, where I lost count, but I think it's only like, somewhere around 1,000 cases or something like that. And don't get me wrong, I'm not trying to diminish the importance of that. It's serious. It's real. People have lost their lives. I get that. But for us, we're like, that's less than like, 2 people per city, okay, 2 people in each city got it. No big deal. That's the way we think. But like I said, the closer it gets to you, the more real it is. Now I have a personal friend who has a family member that has it, and you're like, whoa, wow. So once again, I think if it's real, a part of me believes it's real, and a part of me is like, no, that don't let them in. They're trying to put those thoughts in your head. A part of me wants to get my tinfoil hat and put it on and put like tint on the windows in my house and stuff. So part of me is like, no, they won't get me. They're not going to get me. And then a part of me is like, wow, man, this is serious, and I need to be more careful. So yeah, as resistant as I was to wearing a mask, I religiously wear it now. I get out of the car, thank God my wife bought me one, and I wear my mask now, and I am one of the people who initially called other people sheep for wearing the mask. But mostly I only wear the mask because it's like state mandated now. We were like one of the last states that like mandated the mask. So that's the main reason I wear it. But I'm starting to see that the coronavirus is serious. So that's where I'm at with it. I just wanted to meet with you guys tonight and rap a little bit. Like I said, change gears from last week because last week was pretty heavy. And I just wanted to, just come and rant and have a little bit of loose talk. Once again, shout out to Corey Holcomb and Darlene OG Ortiz at the 5150 show, because that is where I borrowed the term loose talk from. Anyways, my name is Arshawn Wade, a.k.a. The Angry Nerd, and I wanted to share something tonight. I am done fighting at this point. I think I'm torn. I'm like in the middle. I'm like, oh man, let me But as far as I'm concerned, yeah, I'm pursuing. All right, hold on to the seat of your pants now. I am pursuing comedy. I will be showing up when the world opens back up in comedy clubs. That's what I'm going to be doing. I'm taking it seriously. I'm not going to do the whole YouTube, Instagram, Vine thing or whatever. That's not my get down. I'm going to take the traditional route, going to comedy clubs, doing stand-up comedy, and I'm going to do it. So same thing I did with fighting. I'm going to get in it. I'm going to do it. I'm going to do it my way, and I'm going to have fun. So that's where I'm at with it right now. And I want you guys to be on the lookout for that. I may put a joke or two or something like that in the show as, the podcast gets better and I start developing segments and things like that. But we'll see. But for right now, that's the direction that I'm going in. That's where that's where I feel led. That's where I feel drawn. I want to make people laugh. I actually really mostly just want the license to say whatever the hell I want to say. And comedians are probably like the last people on earth who can really speak their minds, but we do it in a slick comedic way. So it's like, you can't all the way take me seriously, but he did drop a jewel right there. These hoes ain't loyal. See what I mean? Just a random thought. I could do that because now I have the moniker of comedian. I'm not going to wear that title until I have 1 solid year of stand-up comedy under my belt. That's when I will allow people to call me a comedian. Well, I'm going to get out of here tonight. My name is Arshawn Wade, a.k.a. The Angry Nerd. Thank you guys for listening. Peace. I'm out.